So my name is Mike Caudill. My day job is I work on Cisco's PCERT team, but I'm here to talk to you today in my other role, which is the chair of an organization called FIRST. FIRST stands for the Forum of Incident Response and Security Teams, and it's an international organization made up of security and response teams from around the world. And what I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about is a couple of our special interest groups that we've got going on. And two specifically that have just recently formed that I think would be of some interest to the NANOG community. So overall, we have 4 special interest groups. We have one composed of vendors, another one that is doing CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, that you might have seen some in the press. But our two most recent are the Abuse SIG and the Network Monitoring SIG. Now, the idea of a special interest group within FIRST, which is a members-only organization, is really to be able to bring in regional initiatives and important topics and bring in whoever we need. So even non-members can participate in these special interest groups, and they're usually driven by someone who's within FIRST. But let's start with the Abuse SIG for a minute. So the Abuse SIG, and it looks like we lost a URL in there, was formed out of the ECOTE effort. There's an organization called ECOTE, the European Cooperation of Abuse Fighting Teams. Basically composed of abuse@example.com type domains. And these guys have met, I think their 5th meeting was in January, and they're becoming a SIG underneath FIRST, and will continue to do that under the FIRST umbrella. And one of the interesting things was, it's currently being chaired by Martin Vanderheide from KPN. But when they voted to come under FIRST and we took a look, they did not even realize of the Asian efforts that were going on. So the 20 or so teams that have been working on this in Europe found out that there were something like 50 to 60 teams in Asia that are doing the same thing. And one of the things that looks like it's missing to me is where's the North American component of it and the South American component. So that's one of the reasons I'm up in front of you today to say, if you have folks that are here today or folks back in your own organizations that are dealing with abuse, they may want to participate in this effort. The second one to talk about is the Network Monitoring SIG. There are some guys, I don't know if you're familiar with the efforts going on in like Korea, where KR-CERT has an extensive monitoring for their whole country and other countries as well. But there's a group that's forming to talk about how to share those tools and that information in such a way that we can do a better early warning system, if you will, for malware spread and that kind of stuff. So our network monitoring SIG is going to be focused on that kind of information sharing. How can you sanitize data, share data, or even just share tools and best practices to accomplish this. So lastly, and again we lost another URL in there, many of the individuals that are working on this will be at our 2006 conference, which is going to be held in Baltimore, which is extremely convenient for most North Americans to get to. And there are international airports there if you have foreign counterparts who may want to attend. And I suspect that there will be some activity around these efforts in the hallways or at BOFs and whatnot at the conference. Lastly, some contact information, myself, the URL for our organization where you can find more information. Right now we don't have any web pages for the last 2 SIGs because they literally just started a couple of weeks ago. So when they get their web corner up there, we'll try to make sure that's prominent so that you can find more information about it. And if you'd like to email me to ask me how you can get involved, you can send it to my email address that was on the first slide, or first-chair@first.org. And that's it, unless someone has a question for me. Excellent. Thank you.